Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another second stimulus check and second stimulus package unemployment benefits extension update. And welcome back, or welcome here if you are brand new here. Always happy to have new people. But in today's update, we have relatively great news to share. It's relatively promising upside, but basically we have recently received feedback about both the bipartisan proposal, about what the politicians think, and also about the Mitch McConnell proposal. And it just looks pretty relatively promising. We have updates about what they currently think about it, and it's actually surprisingly a massive shocking turn of events and relatively breaking to really be able to hear this. But we're going to talk all about that in today's video. We're going to start rolling the video right away. But before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, hopefully, and especially in light of this really great news that I think most of you guys will hopefully be excited to hear. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification button if you guys are brand new here for future updates on stimulus and unemployment. I do also have other videos that explain all of the different programs, from the unemployment to the different proposals. I'll put it down in the description or also at the end screen, so definitely watch it if you are interested in that or learning all about the different programs. And also feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about anything at any time, especially towards the very end of this video, about what you guys currently think about this current situation and what you guys think is going to happen. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So as most of you guys probably know by now, is that there are currently three proposals that are currently on the table: the bipartisan proposal, the Mitch McConnell proposal, and then the Nancy Pelosi proposal. Now, we have not actually received details about the Nancy Pelosi proposal yet. Right now, that proposal is still in secret. It's still kind of like being talked about behind the scenes, and they have not released any details to the public about that. However, we have received feedback about both of the other two proposals. And basically the shocking news is that as of yesterday, we have received feedback that in a shocking turn of events, Nancy Pelosi has officially decided to step down and compromise and actually be in support of the brand new bipartisan stimulus proposal. Now, if you guys haven't checked it already, I did make two videos explaining both of these proposals. This is basically the fast answer about the bipartisan proposal if you're pressed for time, but I do recommend, because I dive a lot deeper into it. One of the proposal basically talks about the bipartisan. It has a photograph of Mitt Romney on the thumbnail. The other one basically talks about the Mitch McConnell bill. It has a photograph of Mitch McConnell on the thumbnail, so definitely check it out if you're interested in learning about the details about those bills. But basically, Nancy Pelosi has recently finally decided to compromise and agree on the bipartisan proposal. Now, I think that right now she still wants to tweak certain things within the bipartisan stimulus. However, she is looking at it at a very positive upside, and she's hoping to actually now use it as the starting point and the basis for negotiations, which is surprising because the bipartisan stimulus is basically just right around $1 trillion, which is a massive difference from the Nancy Pelosi original HEROES Act that was supposed to be priced at $2 trillion. I believe that she specifically voiced, and she stated, I think, that what really ended up happening is that according to her, what she basically says is that I think she just felt that the urgency to get a stimulus package done was even more needed than ever. And so because of that reason, she basically finally decided that she was willing to compromise. So the really great news is that if you are someone that was in support of the bipartisan stimulus proposal, then this is really great news, because there's a chance that it may actually very much happen now. Now, on another note is that if you felt that the bipartisan proposal was not enough, then I actually still also have relatively good news, relatively much more subtle, but relatively great news that I'll share in a little bit. But I think at this current point in time, the great news really is that from here, really, we have basically received feedback that obviously the bipartisan group is in support of the stimulus proposal, their stimulus, the $900 billion stimulus proposal. Pelosi is in relative support of it. I think she still does want a couple of things tweaked, but nonetheless is that she's more or less in support of it. And so and then I believe Donald Trump is basically willing to sign almost anything. I'm pretty sure Trump is very flexible. He just basically is willing to just sign something or whatever comes up to his table. The only person I believe right now that actually is in hesitation is actually Mitch McConnell. Now, even on Mitch McConnell's side, we've also received feedback from him is that even Mitch McConnell is actually shockingly, surprisingly now seeing it as positive upside. And keep in mind is that this was not always the case. In basically the several weeks, in fact even months right before before the elections, Mitch McConnell actually did not see very positive upside about it. Back then, he was actually very, because keep in mind, he was very, very against it back then, because he was trying to take the time to focus on appointing the Supreme Court justice at that time. He just wanted to focus on that. The positive upside and the positive great news is that even Mitch McConnell actually sees it very, very promising, that even he believes that we can finally strike a deal in the next 2 weeks, right before Christmas happens. The only thing maybe I believe right now is that Mitch McConnell is still very, very hesitant in terms of being able to do the actual bipartisan stimulus. He is in support of some kind of stimulus, and he does see positive upside, but I do believe that he's in relatively hesitation in terms of just supporting the actual bipartisan proposal that's currently on the table. But at this current point in time, if Pelosi, which has relatively already voiced support for it, agrees to the bipartisan proposal, and if obviously the bipartisan group also agrees to it because they obviously wrote it, and Donald Trump hopefully is very likely to agree, it basically means that the only person that's in the way right now is Mitch McConnell. If Mitch McConnell can have a change of heart and finally approve it, there is actually a very reasonable chance to think that the next stimulus package can very, very much likely pass and finally approve in the next 2 weeks. Now, if you are someone that did not believe that the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus proposal was sufficient enough, then I do actually have relatively promising news. Now, this part is a lot more based on my personal thoughts and like my speculation about what I think. But my personal opinion about why I think Nancy Pelosi maybe decided to finally compromise and drop it is probably because, first off, is that she does, maybe hopefully actually does, want to get something finally done after the massive several month stall. I also believe that there were probably many Democrats within even the House, basically people even in her own party, that was actually trying to preach for it, so maybe they managed to convert her mind. But I also think that another reason why is because there is a lot of talks right now that they are possibly trying, especially on Biden's team, to do an even third stimulus package next year. But I think that they're trying to bank on the hope that if they hopefully try to pass some kind of stimulus package now, they can have something to hopefully try to save the economy for the sake of every single person. You, me, the governor, even then, because keep in mind is that the government shutdown is about to happen even for them in 2 weeks. That is why we have a very hard deadline that's supposed to be coming up very, very soon for them to pass something. I think that maybe their hidden motive behind it is that they're trying to pass some kind of stimulus package now so that they can have it to hopefully sustain into next year. And then I believe that when Biden takes office, they're hoping to try to do a third stimulus package. And here's another even bigger thing. As most of you guys know, the Senate election is coming up on January 5th. This is probably one of the biggest elections. So if you are in Georgia, definitely go out to vote, or if you know someone in Georgia, definitely encourage them to go vote, because the big thing is that if this Senate flips, there is a very reasonable chance to think that we may actually end up seeing a third package come up, that maybe even a true massive package, especially even more true if Biden and his team manages to sweep. So they own the House, they flip the Senate, and then of course you have Biden, inside of the White House. There is a very reasonable chance we can maybe even see an even larger stimulus package, including this return of the $600 unemployment, which would be insane and glorious. But there's definitely a very reasonable chance to think it can very, very much happen. And I think that right now, the second stimulus package, maybe why Pelosi is compromising, is because she's trying to use it to just sustain until that, in 1 month, hopefully maybe even happens with like the Senate and Biden finally taking office. But with that being said, that's what I really wanted to cover in today's update. So there is promising news, there's promising upside. Hopefully you guys relatively enjoyed that. Remember to smash the like button. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification button. And also feel free to check out other videos if you guys are interested. And also feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about anything at all. Even more true about what you guys predict is going to happen from here, whether or not we will see a stimulus package finally approved and signed in the next 2 weeks, because keep in mind that is going to be the deadline. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.